Be me. 26, was female, now male. Transitioned last year. Went through the whole process. Hormones, top surgery, papers updated. Every step felt like climbing out of the wrong skin and finally standing tall. For the first time in my life, I look in the mirror and see him staring back. Was nervous, but excited. Finally, get to be the man now. New identity, new chapter. Landed a decent job too. Not ballin', but salary better than most of my friends. Steady office gig, enough to feel like I can actually build something. Colleagues even respect me, call me solid worker, not just the new guy. Started seeing someone a few months after settling into work. Her name's Leah, stylish, funny, confident, the kind of woman who turns heads when she walks in a room. We met at a co-worker's birthday, crammed around a bar table. She teased me about my drink choice, I teased her back, and somehow we ended up talking until the place closed. I remember thinking she was out of my league, but she didn't act like it. First date was just coffee and a long walk. I kept expecting to stumble, to be caught out as not enough. But she laughed at my dumb stories, asked real questions. For the first time, I wasn't pretending or performing. I wasn't trying to be a man. I was the man, and the way she looked at me made it feel natural. Things moved faster than I expected. By the third date, I was picking up the check without thinking twice. By the fifth, she was leaving a toothbrush at my place. 6 months in, it just made sense when she suggested moving in together. I said yes, before I even thought about what it meant. If you'd asked me before transition what dating as a guy looked like, I would have said, easy sex, constant attention, privileges everywhere. Men made it seem like all you had to do was exist, and women lined up to chase you. I figured if I had to shoulder the man role, at least I'd get the perks too. So when I found myself covering little things for Leah, cab fares, food, her share of the utilities, I told myself it was just being extra nice in the beginning, like laying the groundwork. That once I'd proven myself, it'd flip and we'd start splitting, maybe even switch off like partners do. In my head, dating as a man was supposed to be sunshine and rainbows, sex, closeness, companionship, all the benefits men joked about having. If I had to put in a little extra up front, I figured it would even out later. And honestly, at first, it was fun. Grocery runs together, late night takeout on the couch. Every time I pulled out my card, I felt this warm buzz in my chest, like each little payment was proof I wasn't just living as a man. I was providing like one. We weren't rich by any means, but I found myself stretching to cover more than my half. Rent 1 month, her phone bill the next. Leah would smile, kiss my cheek, call me reliable. I sank into it, chest swelling, thinking this must be what being needed feels like. And deep down, I was sure, soon enough, I'd get to enjoy the rewards too. Honestly, life felt sweet back then. Waking up next to Leah, making coffee, heading to work, knowing I had someone to come home to. Weekends were lazy mornings, brunches, browsing furniture stores like we were building a future together. That warm, steady rhythm where everything just clicks. I'd catch myself thinking, damn, men really exaggerated how hard this is. Like, what were they always complaining about? I had a decent job, a girlfriend who wanted me, and for the first time in my life, I felt secure in my own skin. What more could a guy want? Whenever I scrolled forums or overheard co-workers griping about relationships, I'd roll my eyes. My girl's ungrateful, my girl's distant, my girl only loves me for my wallet. To me, it just sounded like bitterness, like men couldn't appreciate what they had. I'd even vent to Leah about it sometimes, tell her how I thought men just love to play victims, complain about providing like it wasn't their choice. She'd smirk, curl up against me, and say, well, that's because not every man is as solid as you, and damn, that line hit like a medal pinned on my chest. Back then, I thought I was proof they were wrong, that if you stepped up, provided, acted reliable, love and loyalty followed naturally. I had no idea how quickly that belief was about to be tested. One afternoon at work, sitting in the break room with James, mid-40s, married, 2 kids, he's the kind of guy who's always got a story, always rubbing his temples like bills are printed on the inside of his eyelids. I'm half eating a sandwich when he asks me, casual, so, how's it feel? You've been on the other side for a while now. I know what he means, the transition. He's one of the few co-workers I told outright, and he's never made it weird. So I shrug, try to put words to it. Honestly? Better than I expected. Work's solid, dating's actually easier than I thought it'd be. He raises an eyebrow, leans back in his chair. Easier how? I laugh, admit the thing I'd been half thinking for months. I always figured once I was seen as a guy, it'd be like, easy mode. Men made it seem like women chase you, sex falls into your lap, all that. And with Leah, it kind of feels true sometimes. I pick up the check, play the part, she's happy. Makes me wonder why dudes complain so much. James just stares at me for a second, smirks like he's heard this 100 times, shakes his head, takes a sip of coffee, then says, "You'll learn fast, son. Love feels real when you're paying. Stop paying. See what's left." Laughed it off in the moment, but the words stuck, kept replaying in my head on the train ride home. I didn't want to admit it, but he had a point. Almost everything between me and Leah had a receipt attached to it now. Date nights weren't just walks or coffee anymore. They were restaurants with bills that made my stomach tight. Her figuring things out phase meant I was covering more than just my share. Rent, groceries, little emergencies that always seemed to pop up right before payday. I told myself it was temporary. She was younger, just finished school, still finding her path, but part of me wondered, would she even want me if I stopped providing? I didn't crawl out of the wrong skin just to wear a different mask. If man only meant ATM, then what did I fight for? All those nights staring at the ceiling, praying to wake up in the right body, was it just so I could hand over my paycheck and call that love? That thought ate at me, like I'd built my whole new identity on this idea of being reliable, and if reliability vanished, what was left? So one night, lying in bed, I came up with a plan. Not a big dramatic thing, just a small test. Hold back a little, see how she reacted, skip covering her phone bill, suggest we split groceries evenly for once. In my head, it wasn't about money. It was about proof. Would Leah still look at me the same if I wasn't always reaching for my wallet? I told myself it was logical, even healthy. A relationship shouldn't hinge on cash flow, right? But deep down, I think I was scared. Scared James was right. Scared I was just renting love at the cost of my own future. The first test came up on its own. Leah's phone bill was due. Usually she'd sigh, hand me the slip, and I'd cover it without thinking. This time I just said, "Hey, can you handle it this month? I've got a few things I'm juggling." Expected a smile, maybe a no problem. Instead, her face flickered. Quick annoyance she tried to mask. "Yeah, sure," she said flat, turning back to her laptop. No kiss, no thank you, no nothing. She even muttered under her breath, barely loud enough for me to catch, "You're supposed to handle this stuff." The words stung sharper than I expected, like all my effort had just been reduced to a job description. Lying there later, I couldn't help comparing it to how I used to dream it would be, a girlfriend proud of me for stepping up, bragging about me like I was her rock. Instead, all I got was silence and a frown, like I'd broken some unspoken rule. Later that night, I found the bill crumpled on the counter. Guess she paid it, but the silence around it felt louder than any argument. Lying in bed, I kept replaying it. Was I being petty for even noticing? Funny thing is, I couldn't remember the last time she'd covered my slack. I'd bought her meds when she was sick, paid her Uber when she stayed late at a friend's, even spotted her sister $50 once because she asked me to. But when I thought back, had she ever once stepped in for me? The answer hit hard. No. Next test, groceries. I grabbed the cart, told her, "Let's split this one down the middle." She laughed like I'd made a joke. When I didn't crack a smile, her expression shifted. "Oh, right. Sure." At the register, she pulled out her cards slow, almost reluctant, like it cost her more than just money. On the way home, she was quiet, scrolling her phone instead of leaning into me like usual. I tried to break the silence with a dumb story from work, but her replies were clipped, distracted. It felt like I'd broken some invisible contract neither of us ever signed, and that was the part that ate at me. She never said the rule out loud, but it was clear. My wallet was the glue. Take that away, and suddenly every shared laugh, every hand squeeze, every late-night cuddle started to feel fake, like it came with a receipt. That night, I reached for her in bed, same as always. Usually she melts into me, forehead to my neck, easy warmth. This time, she goes still, pulls the blanket higher like armor. "I'm tired," she whispers to the ceiling, not to me. I murmur, "Long day." Trying to read her? She shrugs in the dark. "Money's stressing me out." Can we not? I lie there frozen, hand hovering like I've forgotten how to touch. It isn't the no, it's the timing. First time I asked to split, first time she turned away. The room feels colder by 2 degrees. I roll onto my back and stare at the shadow of the fan. count the blades like they're reasons not to say anything. Tell myself not everything is connected, that couples have off nights, but the thought won't leave. If my card stays in my pocket, does her body stay out of reach? Her breathing evens out. Mine never does. The week dragged heavy after that. I wasn't sleeping right, tossing and turning, chest tight with the thought, was James right? Am I just testing the only real love I've ever had into the ground? Woke up groggy, bags under my eyes, still forced myself into the office grind. James noticed before anyone else, leaned across the break room table one morning and asked, "Rough night?" I shrugged, tried to play it off, but he just waited, sipping his coffee, slow. So I gave him the short version, told him I'd tried pulling back a little, just to see, that Leah had gone distant, colder. Now I can't tell if I'm proving you right, or just screwing things up myself. James didn't gloat, he just sighed, rubbed his temples, and said, "Sometimes the hardest part of being a man is realizing how conditional warmth can be. Don't ignore the signs, son." His words sat in my stomach all afternoon, like I'd swallowed lead. The guilt hit me next. Lying awake one night, staring at the ceiling, I thought maybe I was being unfair. Maybe I was sabotaging something good over paranoia planted by an older guy who'd just been burned himself. The one savings account I had wasn't just numbers on a screen, it was for the car I'd been saving for, the down payment on freedom. Every skipped takeout order, every overtime shift I dragged myself through, all of it lived in that balance. And now I was gutting it just to keep the peace in my own apartment. It felt less like generosity and more like buying back her affection. But whatever. I told myself saving my relationship was more important, so I caved. Pulled money from the savings account I'd been building for a used car, bought Leah the necklace she'd been eyeing, covered rent in full the same week. Told myself it was a reset button, proof that I was still that reliable man she'd bragged about before. Her reaction? A smile, a kiss, and a casual, "That's just what you're supposed to do." Like it was nothing. Like the sacrifice wasn't even worth acknowledgement. And that's when the first real crack appeared in me, because for the first time, it didn't feel like providing made me more of a man. It felt like I was disappearing into a role that demanded everything, and gave back nothing. After the necklace thing, the silence between us didn't fade. I thought maybe meeting her friends would help, show them I wasn't just a wallet, that we had something real. So one night, I suggested it, tried to sound casual. "Hey, maybe I could tag along next time you're out with the girls?" Leah hesitated, lip caught in her teeth. "They're a lot. You probably wouldn't enjoy it," I pressed. Told her it'd mean something to me, that I wanted to know the people close to her. She sighed, reluctant, then finally said, "Fine." Come Friday night, I show up 10 minutes early, figured I'd surprise her, make a good impression. The wine bar was buzzing, music low, glasses clinking, perfume hanging thick. I spot them around the corner before they spot me. Decide to wait a beat, then I hear my own name. Leah, laughing. "Oh, don't worry, I'm using him properly. Bills, dinners, rent sometimes. He thinks that's love." Her friends laugh like it's the funniest thing in the world. One adds, "Girl, that's the point. Men exist to provide. Don't get soft on him." Another, "If he ever stops, move on." No woman our age has time to build with a broke man. Leah smirks, sipping. Exactly. He's solid. For now. But let's be real. Without money, there's no spark. My stomach dropped through the floor. The kind of words you can't unhear. I forced my face neutral, walked up like nothing happened. "Babe." "There you are," she chirped, eyes wide like she hadn't just gutted me in front of her friends. I smiled with my teeth, shook hands, sat down. When the check came, the waiter laid it dead center. Habit stronger than pride, my card hit the tray before anyone else moved. The table laughed like it was expected, like the script was written long before I showed up. Later that night, lying awake with her asleep next to me, I couldn't hold it anymore. Slipped into the kitchen, phone in hand, and called James. He answered groggy, voice gravel. "Son?" I told him everything. The overheard words, the laughter, the way I still paid like a clown. My throat caught, asking, "What the hell do I do? Keep proving myself? Walk away?" James was quiet a long beat, then sighed deep. "Listen. You can pour your heart, your time, your money into someone, but if there's no respect, it's already over. That's not love, that's a transaction. You can't buy love, only rent it. And son, your lease is up. Don't sink another dollar or another ounce of yourself into someone who's already shown you what you are to them. Walk away before you've got nothing left. His words hit like a hammer. Brutal, simple. I knew he was right. I just didn't want him to be. I must have gone quiet too long because James gave this low chuckle, not the funny kind, the tired kind. You think I say this like it's theory? Son, I lived it. 15 years with a woman who swore she loved me, thought kids and a mortgage meant forever. Then I got laid off. Severance barely covered food. Within 6 months, she was colder than winter steel. By 9, she was gone. Took the kids, the house, half of what little was left. You want to know the kicker? She told me I wasn't the man she married anymore. I sat there, gut twisting, trying to picture him younger, ring on his hand, thinking he'd built something solid. Didn't she ever care? I asked, like an idiot clinging to hope. James rubbed his temples. She cared as long as I could pay. That was the care. I wanted to argue, to say Leah wasn't like that, to say my situation was different. But his eyes, heavy, hollow, made the words stick in my throat. That was the first time I realized men don't just fear losing money. They fear losing love the second the money's gone. Next evening, I told Leah we needed to talk. Sat her down at the kitchen table, bills stacked beside me like witnesses. I started careful. I can't keep carrying this alone. I need a partner, not just another bill. If this is only about money, I can't do it anymore. Her face changed instantly, sweet gone, sharp showing through. Are you serious? You knew what you signed up for. You're the man. You provide. That's how this works. I tried to keep calm. I can't be treated like a bank. That's not love. She scoffed, voice rising. Love doesn't pay rent. Love doesn't keep the lights on. You? You were only attractive because you were reliable. Without that, what are you even? The words cut deeper than any silence ever could. All the times she kissed my cheek, called me solid, all the warmth, fake, conditional. The mask finally slipped, and the truth was uglier than I'd feared. She grabbed her phone, muttered, "Guess I wasted my time," and stormed out, door slam echoing through the apartment like a verdict. I sat there alone at the table, staring at bills I couldn't pay, and a future I didn't recognize. James's voice in my head, "You can't buy love, only rent it." And the lease had just expired. Is the rest of my life as a man going to be like this? If it is, then can I just transition back?